Here we are again. CD Projekt Red says Cyberpunk and the internet loses its mind. I'm not talking about culture war or anything like that for once. I mean, CD Projekt Red could go public with a screenshot of a turd and say that's our new project, and everyone gets completely overexcited and wants that turd. I watched a Cyberpunk gameplay review now a couple of times also for making this video. I just don't see the things everyone is talking about. I have seen nothing that will blow my mind, and also so far I didn't really hear any argument why I should be so overexcited about this game. Expect this is a CD Projekt Red game, so it will be great, and I disagree. I will be a little bit controversial right now, and I just say it. I personally don't think The Witcher 3 is a great game. So the bad game, it is average. Or let me say it like that. The Witcher 3 is an okay game, but a bad RPG. The Witcher 3 was a game with a lot of potential, but mismanagement of their game design just ruined this potential completely for me personally. As an example, and this will be controversial again, going open world was the biggest mistake they did. The world may look pretty, but they used it so fucking terrible, it was just so much useless space. You have these great looking and impressive landmarks all over your map, but then the majority of quests lead you somewhere down in a cave. I don't even want to start talking about the progression system. From having this uncreative skill board to limiting the skills you can actually use, and the fact that the experience you gain from side quests and killing monsters is so small comparing to the story quest that all these hours doing them was just for nothing and only for the reason so you are not overpowered for the boring final boss fight. It blows my mind, and not in a good way, that people just can look over these things and praise the shit out of a game with so many flaws. But I will stop now. I'm working on a script for a video going into the detail why I personally think The Witcher 3 is not a great game. We'll come back from time to time to The Witcher 3 in this video while arguing about some points in Cyberpunk, but let's concentrate on the Cyberpunk gameplay video now. What I just want to say with that is that I'm not looking at the gameplay through overhyped fanboy eyes, and maybe bring a little bit another perspective into the whole discussion. Like The Witcher 3, I had the feeling watching Cyberpunk, it's a game with a lot of potential and interesting ideas. But they have still to do a lot of work so this potential can shine through, and it won't be just Fallout or even more a Deus Ex clone. I'm talking especially about combat and the so far very disappointing enemy AI. But let's take a look at these things in detail while looking at Cyberpunk gameplay. I won't go through the whole video, otherwise my video will get way too long. I'm just taking out clips I want to talk about. A final disclaimer, all I'm saying are personal opinions. I'm not saying that I'm right and you are wrong, and I don't want to take away the possible excitement you have for Cyberpunk. I'm doing this video because I have different opinions than most of other people's, and if you feel different about the things I'm talking about, you're very welcome to leave a comment for further discussions.
Clear. Go!
Welcome to the gameplay demo walkthrough of CD Projekt Red's upcoming title, Cyberpunk 2077. A narrative-driven, open-world RPG set in a dark version of the future. Before we start, a small but important disclaimer. The gameplay you're about to see is from a work-in-progress version of the game. Everything you see is potentially subject to change. In Cyberpunk 2077, you can fully customize your character using a deep customization system. For this demo, we're going to play a female.
Let me stop it here for a moment. I'm not the biggest fan of fully customizing your characters at the beginning of a game. First, I don't care too much to spend actual time to customize my character. It's kind of a waste of time for me. I want to jump into the game as fast as possible, so these things are more annoying than anything else for me. And second, I'm just not a fan of the silent protagonist types who don't have any personality. to give the player this immersion that he himself is the protagonist. The reason is because this doesn't work for me. I don't want to play as myself, I want to play as a character that fits into the presented world, and he is actually a personality which he interacts with others. Much more interesting for me. As example, going back to The Witcher 3, and this time I won't say anything bad. The narrative of The Witcher 3 is definitely one of the strongest points of the game, not even I want to take this away. But imagine Geralt was just a silent character without any personality. Even with Geralt being an introverted character, and even with player choices, I always had the feeling that the things he says and does didn't break his personality at all. Take this personality away, and the narrative of The Witcher 3 would have suffered a lot. However, I have to say, it seems that your character in Cyberpunk has a personality despite the customization choices you make. Maybe the personality is different by choosing a gender, and I can live with that. I just hope there are some normal haircuts to choose. I don't really want to roleplay as an SJW.
Here is not final. We just want to give you a glimpse of what will be possible in the released game. This is an RPG.
Okay, CD Projekt Red, if you hear me. If this is an RPG, then please look at The Witcher 3 and do with every RPG element the complete opposite, otherwise I can already see that your progression system will suck. At least get rid of this fucking boring skill board. The skill tree is still totally lame, but you can at least make something interesting with it. But even better to do something different, new, exciting, will ya? A good example is Final Fantasy VII's materia system. Gave the progression system a new whole dimension, much more than just grinding your level. It also gave optional side quests and time-consuming things like chocobo breeding a purpose. So please give the player this time some kind of reward for spending hours upon hours doing side quests, and don't make it completely worthless and a waste of time like in The Witcher 3. Thank you.
Throughout the game, this demo takes place near the beginning of the game. Vi and her friend Jackie, along with a netrunner named Tiba, are hired to find and retrieve a missing person, a girl whose locator implant went dark.
Always clear. Go!
1237 on your right. Girls inside. Biomon's been down an hour. Better double.
Okay, interacting with NPCs like that is kinda cool. However, so far I don't really see a reason for doing so. I mean, is there a difference in not interacting to interacting that may affect the gameplay?
Are we fucking late? Is that her? Is that our target, V?
Room's too simple. Not our girl, I think. Keep looking.
It looks like these scavengers are kidnapping people to harvest their implants. Okay, things are about to get heated. We'll take a reflex booster that temporarily allows us to use the Koreznikov ability. This is Koreznikov.
Slow motion or bullet time in FPS. It's not really something special. It's actually such an old game mechanic that you don't really see it anymore. Nothing to be excited about. What the hell was that guy doing? The enemy AI needs a lot of work.
He's moving! Cover! Find cover! Blast the wall! You'll get him!
Can't see shit!
Oh, who's your fucking commander?
fucking you!
Room he's in looks out on the balcony. Got a window on the left. Go!
Get his attention. West.
Okay, listen. The combat doesn't look bad at all. It actually looks quite fun, but people do like it. It's the best shit ever, and it just isn't. So far I didn't see anything that sticks out. And again, about interacting with NPCs, having these alternate routes and things like that, it would be cool if these things are something that actually alter the battlefield and give you different options to deal with your enemies. But so far it's just a voice in your head exactly telling you what to do, and you do it. In other words, so far it looks scripted and very situative, and not some mechanics you can freely use to your advantage. But I also want to say that there is not really something wrong with scripted elements to spice things up. Absolutely nothing. I just want to say that so far nothing mind-blowing, extraordinary happened in this gameplay.
Won't be needing this anymore.
As example to the point I made before, the destruction of the wall looks impressive. But is this just scripted? Or are there weapons you can shoot with and destroy elements of the world with it? I don't know.
Okay, we'll take V's trusty pistol.
Yes, I jumped over quite a bit there. Was just nothing too interesting happening up to this point. So some minor choices you could make to finish the mission before. Didn't see anything I could complain about, and yes, the game world looks amazing. I have to give credit there, but graphics is not everything.
And also grab our jacket. Since Cyberpunk 2077 is an RPG, the jacket not only provides us with protective stats like armor, but it also increases our street cred. Street cred is a form of experience the player acquires by completing side missions. It is used to unlock new vendors and content throughout Night City.
So CD Projekt Red actually is listening. Street cred is actually the most exciting thing I heard up to this point, because it seems that this time they reward you for doing side quests.
Alright, let's go meet Jack. V's current apartment is located inside a mega building, a huge building complex that forms a micro-society of its own. In this timeline, technology and the world have evolved in some ways that seem familiar, but entirely surprising in others. As an example, in this world, people pay with eddies, slang for Eurodollars. We make sure to root every detail in the world's lore, so everything has its purpose and stays believable.
I have no doubt about them having a deep lore in the game. Another extremely strong point in The Witcher 3 was the lore, and for me, one of the most exciting aspects of the game. So I completely believe that Cyberpunk isn't anything different, and probably even more.
A big part of our RPG experience is having a world that is interactive. Here, a generic ad has morphed into an advertisement specifically tailored to V, informing her of the nearest vendor she can purchase the product.
Interesting. I completely agree with the interactive environment, absolutely, because The Witcher 3 sucked massively in this regard. The only thing that has been interactive in the world of Witcher 3 were fucking quest boards. Biggest problem I have with the never-ending praise people have for Witcher 3 is that there is a possibility the devs don't hear the critic on the game or don't see any reason to improve their games anymore, because they will anyway get praise for everything they do. I don't really have a problem with The Witcher 3 being an average game instead of a great game. For me, The Witcher 3 was a game that couldn't fulfill its potential because its development team just didn't have the experience yet. My problem is with all the praise for The Witcher 3 and no one actually talks about the obvious problems with the game. The problem was that the potential that lies in CD Projekt Red could be completely wasted because the praise for The Witcher 3 overshadowed the critiques so massively, and you can't grow out of praise, but you can grow when you take critiques seriously and always try to improve. So it makes me really happy to hear things like secret and interactive environment, which are pointing to some of my biggest critiques I have with The Witcher 3. Seems I underestimated CD Projekt Red, and it seems that they stand over all the praise and still listen to critique and try to improve. However, only the final product will really tell if this is true.
Cyberpunk 2077 is set in Night City, a bustling metropolis located on the coast of the free state of North California. It's a dystopian city where violence and oppression are the norm. We are working hard to make Night City a fully realized, seamless open world with no loading screens.
Oh man, I just wish the trend of open world single player games would finally come to an end. I was already bored to death by this type of games 10 years ago, and they still preach about the size of their maps and things like that. Well, size is not all that matters, is what she said. Bigger open worlds just means more empty space, you can't do anything in it, a lot of waste of time going from point A to B, and stupid minigames as fillers for actual good content. Pretty looking empty world instead of actual level design is something modern games suffer the most. I wasn't kidding when I said going open world for The Witcher 3 was one of the biggest mistakes they made.
We've greatly enhanced our crowd and community systems to create the most believable city in any open world game to date. The city's streets are bustling with crowds of people from all facets of life, all living their lives within a full day and night cycle.
Well, what a completely waste of time. I already heard the argument about The Witcher 3 that the NPCs had these day cycles and did different things on different daytimes, and you know what? I didn't care at all. Actually, if no one told me that, I wouldn't even know up to this point that they actually did something like that. And why? Because I couldn't interact with these NPCs. I mean, I could run them over and hear them complain or even cut them down, but I couldn't talk to them or do something that had any meaning to the gameplay with them. 100 times out of 100 situations, I would rather have a village with only 5 NPCs and you can... I'm serious, can someone in the comments please tell me why having so many NPCs with a day cycle is anyway interesting and a must-have for a game? Because I personally absolutely couldn't care less. I'm a gamer, I'm not a tourist that walks around and looks at buildings and how pretty the world looks and how the NPCs do something. As a gamer, I want to interact with things. That's the important thing.
Something tells me that wasn't no coincidence, huh?
Yes, we jumped over a big part again and we saw a possibility to upgrade your characters by buying extra parts for your body. It is interesting because it is exactly what I said when I talked about The Witcher 3's progression system and giving it more dimensions than a boring skill board. So while this is a good thing, I'm a little bit worried that this gets old pretty fast if you have always go through 10 minutes of animations and other shit if you want some upgrades. So I'm not sure to upload the details they put into this or call out another possible waste of time for the devs and the gamer. I mean, you really need to say this only once, not over and over and over and over again.
Jackie's car is a super-powered sports car running on Choo-2, the super fuel of the future. Players can explore Night City freely, in many different cars, on bikes, and in other types of vehicles.
All these freely explorable things, and so when I hear this stuff I roll my eyes. Most games that have a freely explorable world don't put anything worth exploring in it. As example, we go back to Witcher 3. First, if you interact with the only thing you can interact in the Witcher 3's world, the quest board, you get immediately pointed to all interesting locations in the region. And this makes it completely useless to explore the map. pinpointing down a marker on your map has nothing to do with exploring. Give me a reason why I should explore your city, not how I can do that.
This does not look good. Puta madre!
Grab the wheel, Jack!
Oh fuck!
It looks like the scavengers from earlier are still angry.
They're pulling ahead, Heiner! Watch it now! Got it! Alright!
I think we got rid of him. That was intense.
Ah! Shit! The fuck was that? Devils.
Night City never sleeps. Danger lurks around every corner, even in daytime. Random encounters like these are an example of how your actions directly influence your open world experience.
Yeah, so I have some problems with this part. First, I'll have to see that on my own before I believe that you actually really changed the world around you. We heard that many times from other devs, and most of the time it has just been very small how much you actually could influence the world. Anyway, for me it sounds like you piss a faction off in one of your missions and they will just start to shoot at you on sight. Nothing revolutionary here. GTA 3 did the same thing, what now? Over 20 years ago, and again, this may get old very fast. Jumped over a big part again, you didn't miss much, only how important player choices are, blah blah blah. I mean, of course it is cool to have these choices between diplomatic, sneaking, or guns blazing, but again, games like Deus Ex gave you options like this again over 20 years ago. As more as I look at it, as more Cyberpunk looks like Deus Ex. Nothing bad with that, Deus Ex is a fantastic franchise, but still, I don't see anything new or to be overhyped for this game.
It looks like there are several ways out of this room, like those gates, for example. However, you'd have to be a skilled netrunner to hack into this terminal. Luckily, our engineering skills should allow us to disassemble that maintenance panel so we can get through the door.
Got it.
Deus Ex.
There are many skills in the game that players can apply in solving problems. The engineering skill can be used to fix, disassemble, and disarm devices blocking
Production
your
lane
path.
passes through here.
Again, Deus Ex. Why praising Cyberpunk while letting Deus Ex die?
And we're gonna pass through with it.
So,
Got
from
it.
this point on, we're going to unlock the abilities of a high-end character to showcase some of the different mechanics we have in the game.
Oh, please do.
I'll get him.
Fight closer!
One of the new weapon modules we now have installed is a ricochet targeting system connected to our eyes. This allows players to bounce bullets off walls and hit enemies hiding behind cover.
Okay, cool. For sure helpful as soon as the enemy AI gets fixed and they actually are hiding, otherwise useless. But please go on.
How they not fit them? Fuck are you? Check cocksucker!
Hey, get down! Fucking!
This is another targeting system that will reveal enemies behind walls. Paired with the penetrating rounds of our tech shotgun, it's a deadly combination.
You know what, I don't want to shit on everything just because it's not something new. It's cool to have all these options, sure, but it is nothing so far, you shouldn't make a big fuss about it. That's kind of a problem here, overselling your product.
Looks like we found some loot. This is a smart gun. It's one of the more advanced weapons in the game, allowing the bullets to track and follow their target. It's one of many different weapons players can acquire. Weapons are built of modules that allow for deep customization and progression.
You know, the interesting part in shooter is that you have to actually aim by yourself, or at least it is also a lot more satisfying if you go through for hard situations, thanks to your skills and reflexes, and not thanks to aimbots. I see the problem that the game loses a lot of its excitement as soon as you reach a certain level. It just gets boring in high levels. Actually a problem many RPGs have, absolutely open world RPGs. And instead of actually add new challenges to the game, they just artificially higher the levels of your enemies or throw in more dragons. Yes, Bethesda, I'm looking at you. Just a reason more to hate open world single player games.
This way, you can be sure to find something that will suit your playstyle.
There's the toughest bastards guarding this route. Probably some reason for that.
Boring, you just push down a button and the game does the rest for you. Yes, we get it. The legs have hit points. We established that now 10 times in a row. We can move on.
Just a reminder, everything you've seen and are about to see, including this particular feature we're about to show you, is from a work-in-progress version of the game and may change over the course of development.
Okay, all that shit's covered.
Okay, let's try something different. We're going to take this guy down and connect directly to his neural sign. In the world of Cyberpunk, once you are jacked into a network, you have access to everything it connects to. Through this Maelstrom gang map, we've now connected to the gang hideout's internal network. This is the building's personnel system. Let's focus on the squad containing the Maelstrom ganger we just connected to. From here, we can deploy software that affects the whole squad. For now, we'll simply unlock the ability to perform quick hacks.
You see, this part is actually something different for once and exciting. However, be careful with this game mechanic. Don't make it to another stupid hacking minigame that gets old too fast. Also, don't make it too overcomplicated so 99% of the gamers will anyway only use its core features. But definitely one of the more exciting things I have seen so far.
Alright, time to show off our new high-level abilities. With Quick Hack, using the backdoor we unlocked a minute ago, we'll install a virus that jams the connection between the Maelstrom ganger and his weapon. This will prevent him from firing.
Ah! What the hell is her?
Looks like he's having a problem now. Nice.
Again, all these things are cool and so on, but please don't forget to give us a reason to use all this stuff. For we players, we will just take the most convenient route, that is probably just shooting these two guys in the head.
Some of you might recognize these mantis blades. We can also double jump and bounce off of walls, which makes us a very agile, fast solo.
Again, overselling. You spend 50% of your time in combat behind cover. And now you brag about agility you only used in combination with slow-mo so far.
check down here.
Sweet, we just found a corporate tech rifle. Corpo weapons are top of the line. Let's scan this guy and see what's going on. It looks like Royce is back, and he's prepped. He's got an armored exoskeleton. We won't be able to get rid of him that easily. Our weapons are not dealing a lot of damage because he's packing an autonomous shield. Luckily, the scan we performed earlier revealed a weak spot. Attacking it should bring the shield down.
Okay, boss fight, not your strength, CD Projekt Red, not at all. Okay, I played only The Witcher 3 and there was not one memorable boss fight except for the guy that was teleporting the whole time, but just because he was so fucking annoying like hell. Okay, the boss has hit points, or better a weak point, and it is up to the player to find a way to hit this point. Very classic boss fight. And then you immediately take away the interesting aspect of the fight, because you gave us a gun that aims for us and does the actual job for us, so the boss fight is staying behind cover and pushing down a button. You see that the environment gets affected by you or your enemy's actions. That's actually cool, but don't make it just a rare thing you see from time to time. As example in a boss fight, should be something that affects combat all the time and may give you advantages or disadvantages. Otherwise it's just meh, whatever.
Shield's down. Let's finish him off.
Boy, it ain't going your way, you cunts!
Okay, let's put him down and get this job over.
Okay, I mean the basic idea of scanning your enemies and giving them weak points and so on is definitely good, and I am sure with that you can make more exciting boss fights than we just saw now. I'm just absolutely no fan of the aimbot gun. I think it made this particular fight way too easy.
That wasn't the smoothest raid, but we've got the bot, and Dex should be happy. But think back. What would have happened if we hadn't met with the Militech agent?
Sorry, what exactly did the bot do? Did it help in any way?
Or told Royce about the agent and her plans? Or just decided to buy the bot ourselves? So many options, so many possibilities, and each will have consequences that will ripple through the game world and your story. And that's just one quest.
Yeah, blah blah, real consequences. Again, heard it a lot and have to see it first before believing it. It just feels a little bit one of these cases. Say something as many times as possible until everyone believes you. So with that I wanna come to an end. I know this was very negative because I want to be a counter voice to all the overhyped fanboys out there that see more amazing stuff in this gameplay than there actually is. This doesn't mean I think Cyberpunk will be a bad game. Actually, I'm looking forward to it. I really want to see if CD Projekt Red can improve from The Witcher 3, or if all the praise went to their heads. There has been many good things shown and many more promising stuff. We first have to see if they end up good, but also they put down a lot of promises. We just first have really see if these things are true. absolutely the thing about how all your decisions change the world and blah blah blah. I really heard this shit too much, and then it's had only small effects. Also, I didn't talk about the graphics much. Just as final note, yes, the game looks nice, but who gives a fucking fuck? I'm serious, graphics are so fucking overrated. Look at Persona 5, the game looks amazing just because of the presentation. It has fucking last game graphics. Also, when was the last time you said, this game was fun because it looked great? Not the game was fun and looked great, I mean the game was good because of the graphics. Anyway, with that final note, I want to end this video. Thank you for watching and feel free to leave a comment. Like this video if you want to roleplay as an SJW.